Did you ever see your fellow architects as a competition?
Architects can be good. Interior designer can't be the you are an architect.
There are 3-4 points, but it's also about waste management. No, that's what I said. Conservation. Yeah. There are only three basic points which you need to convey into any project, whether it's interiors or whether it's architecture.
All right, guys, welcome to another podcast of Marshalls here. And today we have an amazing panel of really senior guys here. Senior in experience, but not in the way they look or the way they behave. But really an honor and privilege for us to host them today here at Marshalls flagship store in Worli. So jumping in, to start this conversation, what brought us all together is Tangent Networking Services, Devang and Prashant, who started this, last year, the bowling competition. That it was the first time that Marshalls participated, and it was probably the best time we had, and we had so much fun meeting everyone, architects, interior designers across the fraternity. How has your experience, because this is what has brought us together. I know Amit sir was in our team last year. He was part of the auctions. We had him in our team. Unfortunately, he could not play because of time constraint. But what about others? How are you looking forward to the new season, the season 2.0 with Marshalls as the defending champions? I know we have three captains here. So I think I'm looking for some spicy answers.
Ali is not here. He is missing, I think.
Yeah, Ali. Marshall's captain is missing.
Marshall's captain is missing.
Yes.
Taking the trophy home. That's
So we have. So this time we have Farid Bhatkar in our team, and he's designing the trophy, and we've already told him. It's going to be written on that. That is already engraved.
So the best part is when these guys are going around the auction and they were like talking to the teams and the captains and stuff like that. So they came over and they're like, so how are you planning to strategize and decide on your team? So I said, we already had the team meeting last night in the office. I said, what team are you talking about? So they're like, no, you can't say that on camera. Just chill, you're not rigging the team, but yeah. It's good fun. It's a good exercise. I think everybody comes together.
Now, auction is one of the strategy wise. It's one of the most important occasions when you're picking a team, because the entire tournament make or break happens on how you choose a team, and it's based on a lot of luck. How you strategize, which players come when in the auction.
But actually,
Exactly.
The highlight of the whole bowling thing is like, now, for example, like the simplest thing is Amit and me know each other since at least about 20 years now.
Yeah.
But the architectural profession is such that there is no 9 to 5. It's 24/7, 365.
Agreed.
There is nothing. So then this is actually that time when we actually come together and chill.
True.
So for us it's that little opportunity, because architects, kitna bhi bolo, boss, let's catch up.
होता ही
We actually meet in Milan.
प्लानिंग
मतलब
प्लानिंग जितना होता है वो प्रोजेक्ट्स में हो जाता है, वो ये साइड की प्लानिंग
No,
होती
I
है.
seriously agree. I seriously agree with
It's
because
literally
I was just conveying to my team the other day. We had a get together, and I think this whole essence of Tangent coming up with this concept of
Games.
Attaching sports with how the fraternity would come together, or how the business would evolve around it. It's a fantastic triangle actually, and somewhere in this, forming this three dots together, I think architect is a big stress reliever for an architect. I think as what you said, I think it's the best de-stressing time, and I think we need to cherish this moment and enjoy and give heads up to Prashant and Devang that they have come up with this brilliant idea. I think even cricket, they've been doing cricket since a couple of years, and that also has been very successful. And bowling definitely yes. I think it has really done the trick, and at least for me it has definitely some levels of physical.
Now, what I'll tell you about sports, and because I play a lot of sports myself, it is a thing which brings out pure emotions.
Yeah.
You know, when you're working in your corporate life, you strategize, you think, you know, you have time to adjust. In sports, you don't have. You are playing with pure emotions. I remember playing the finals last year, and it was one of the most maddening experience I have seen. We were 7 teams. There were around 80 people behind us yelling, shouting. I've never experienced so much noise, sound levels. My watch kept on prompting it's above the decibel levels. You know, and it was such a moment which I can never experience in a corporate life working, right? You can only experience those things when you play sports, and especially when this has been organized so well. That has been the case. You know, and bringing Ajay also into the conversation, he was going to be one of our favorite picks for the auction.
And I strategized it in such a way that I
Let me
I
first
kept-
finish.
I kept
No,
on
let me
going-
first finish.
I
Let me
kept on
first
going
finish.
bowling before the auction and kept on putting my scores up.
Yeah, so Ali Bhai,
So I tried to create a demand for myself.
so Ali,
My tournament was over on the day of the auction.
so Ali Bhai comes to us and like, no, Ajay Nahar is there and he's a very good bowler. We have to pick him. Nobody else knows about him. We'll get him very cheap. I said, great. We'll get him. 1 week before the auction, sir starts putting all his scores on the social media. And like Ali is like, अरे यार ये अभी सस्ते में नहीं मिलने वाला है. Everybody is going to go after looking at his scores of 180, 190, and that's what.
Yeah. I scored 198 in Worli when I went to play at the game, and then I put up that score.
There was a time when
I was
we
like, job
went to
done.
college, when I think the first bowling alley was opened in Low-Parel.
The COs. Everyone has fond memories of it.
That was the time, yeah. That was the time we started like, oh wow, this is bowling, you know. And after that, life happened and being so stressful every time. But this really broke the ice between all of us.
It's like
Including the vendors, the suppliers, our team owners, everyone. And it is not easy task for Devang and Prashant. Because you have to handle so many egos, so many attitudes. Sabka time set karo, ye nahi aa sakta. It's quite a
Actually, it's
quite,
teaching architects to become project managers.
I agree.
You know, today the demand project management in architecture is there. I know, like in Talati firm and all, they don't want to keep project management. But architects are good in design. Some architects are not good as planners. But combined with this tangent services and planning and just reading the rules and regulations, there is so much of literature and it's given in so much of detail. What we are going to learn and take back from here is management actually.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Team
discipline.
building, yeah, a lot of-
There's a lot
yeah.
of discipline value attached to the whole thing. You know, you coming for practices, you attending sessions, you
Yes.
attending events.
And it's also
and-
bridging the gap between a senior architect and
And a
interior
fresher.
designer who's just come, and also architects and interior designers. It's bridging that gap.
Yes.
So we are all coming into a creative platform where we all are designers.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, like our captain is Sandeep sir, and meeting him, I always heard about him, and actually meeting him and sitting and having a conversation with him about his buildings, how he designed that, how did it evolve. It was such a big thing for us, you know. And then again meeting architects and designers yet younger, yet just starting in the field. It is a very, very, very big gap that has been covered, and just feels wonderful about
So
it.
also, yeah, that's a very good highlight because when you're at the practice, like she said, that you have the younger breed of architects. So when you kind of get into that zone of you being a little friendlier, because obviously in the office you're a little
Boss, yeah.
not uptight, but see, everybody has their boundaries in terms of that sense. But I think the last time and this time we had a few youngsters coming up and asking us, so how do you structure the firm? When you approach a client, what do you do? And that I think that nobody teaches you in the college.
I'm going to ask. I'm going to have a conversation.
So in fact, it's actually nice because today I think most of us, all of us over here are 20 plus in terms of the industry, right?
Yes.
So then it's nicer because you just want to, I'm not saying coach them, but at least you give them either an insight or a feedback that's very real in terms of what the industry is, right? I think that is also very interesting for them to have that conversation that, they're actually bonding with you at that level also. Certain reservations, certain anxiousness of, starting on your own, or even they come back to you with, how do you structure your commercial terms? What happens?
Yeah.
So I think that wouldn't happen in an office otherwise.
Yeah.
That happens on a circuit like this is, I think, very good for the youngsters also.
True.
I think it's a
I met
fair point that she
a
picked up.
designer in auction day. I was sitting and she comes to sit next to me, young girl. So we started talking and she had a 3-month-old baby.
Oh, wow.
And I've just delivered and this is new for me. I don't know how I'm going to do this, how I'll manage home and the kid and office. I'm like, you just being here says a lot, that you can balance the
But
work-life thing.
is it Krishi? Is it Krishi? Because there is a female who just delivered
Yes.
she's in our team. I
She's
picked
in
her
your
up.
team because last when you were
Krishi,
playing, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I happened to meet her not at the event. I didn't meet her at the event, unfortunately. But after that, for a practice, and she told me, like, I've just
Yeah.
delivered a baby boy in 2 months. And I looked at her and I said, are you sure you want to be playing this tournament? Because it's absolutely a
Yes.
great achievement.
It is.
I can understand, the sentiments going along
Yes.
with her, and like hats off to you if you can, make it up to you, because if I would have been there in your place, I would have definitely given it a second thought.
We learn from everyone.
But it's
right?
amazing,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
amazing how people are getting
Balancing,
dedicated,
yeah.
balancing themselves, and adjusting to things. And one more thing I want to say, it's like it's a perfect movie scene. You have your 5 years of training, then you are doing something in between. Cut 20 years later, then you have this. So it's like a proper sequence of a movie. Like what happened in this 20 years? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
And it's just gone on a blink of an eye, right? I mean,
Yeah,
today you
yeah.
realize it that, you graduated then, and today you're having these conversations with the
Yeah, but
younger
before
ones.
this was never there.
Yeah.
We never had such events. We never had such get-togethers.
No,
We
there
never-
were some
but not
events,
so
but
much.
not like
Yeah,
these
this
ones,
level,
what they
yeah.
are doing. It's really impressive. Because a person like me, coming out like this,
Yeah.
I've never imagined that I will give
Right.
so much of time this year at least, or last year.
I remember when he came for one practice.
1-2 practices.
And he was very silently standing.
Yeah,
And
I
we had
knew nobody.
we had to coax him, sir, come
Because
forward.
when
I'm not a person like I will go.
It's letting people
start up.
loose.
So
Yes.
it's
Because I mean, when we were students, right? So you would go to either Prince of Wales or you'd go to Rangshala, you'd come to British Council just for architects to listen to their talks, right? British Council used to have a lot of exchange of people coming in. You had industry experts coming in, and then when you look at it, then that you had to probably register yourself to come and even listen to somebody from the industry just to take back. And now if you see how that has shrunk, and you can actually have that in something as informal as a bowling. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
today we're sitting across, right? You have 4 people from the industry, just having a conversation. At the end of the day, it's the industry, right?
Yes.
I think in our college days, what we used to look forward to was always either the study trips or the
Yeah.
NASA
Which call?
or the Zonasa Academy.
All colleges, any college.
So either we are like going for NASA and that is giving us, we're looking forward to. There were no activities as such where we
Okay.
were
It was always academically inclined or
Yes.
institutionally
No,
inclined.
For the first 3 years, I didn't
know.
I didn't know my classmates for the first 3 years. So my wife is my classmate from IAS college, right? I didn't know her for 3 years. She was in my class,
You were the only one who was more actually.
and then we got married.
You were busy completing your portfolio. Ask him. He's taken study tours from college. And I said, they were really study tours or they were just like.
as a professor, I was really focused on something.
he was focused.
He was
Let's
really,
not get
he
in
was
it.
focused. So he was really with a sketch pad and actually sketching.
Amit was always focused.
And you know where the study tours used to go?
Okay, so the interesting part I was picking up in this conversation was about your talks with fellow people, with fellow architects, interior designers. Did you ever see your fellow architects as a competition, as somebody that अच्छा आपको काम नहीं मिल रहा है because this person is getting, so it's like a competitive spirit, and now over a period of time that has actually reduced? What is your take on fellow architects, fellow firms, and how do you see? Because I think with this kind of meeting people, it's kind of helping people counter that inhibitions people have in terms of social. But do you still feel that kind of a competition?
I think there is a lot of work in the market.
Yeah.
With the number of redevelopment projects that are happening, there will be so much work, and the number of architects are good enough to handle it. And it's all about opportunity. Like I know in the last few days, I got a lot of people coming to do some flats in my building which I have constructed, and couple of them were from this bowling league, and one or two of them didn't even know that I stay in that building.
Okay.
Belong, and then later on I came to know they are there. But I think it's all about merit. It's all about the client who chooses who to give it to. There is no competition with fellow architects as much as what a client chooses.
Yes.
Client only doesn't choose on basis of design. It's also comfort level of that client in terms of the speed, in terms of delivery, in terms of correspondence. Like if I text you and you don't reply back to me for 2 days, I'm assuming you're traveling, so you're not interested. So it's all depends on that. So I think there is a lot of work. So I don't think there is anything for fellow architects to worry about somebody else taking anything.
I think it's more about the niche you create for yourself. So I think over a period of say 30 years, I've been friends with architects only mostly. I am mostly friends with my college mates, seniors, juniors. We are in touch, and we've been friends. So there has never been that outlook that there is always a competition, because every professional, every architect has a niche to produce for himself, and as he said that that there's a lot of work. So when you create your niche, you would never compete. You would always feel how and when you can do better than what you've been doing and not what others are doing. I think once we have that mindset, we would
I think your competition is yourself.
Yes,
How
so
to
you
get
would
better.
you will never think of competing with one another. You're always trying to improvise and improve yourself, and that is what is.
So I would like
required.
to add in this thing. Since working with Talati and partners now, I've been there for more than 25 years, and seen how the growth of interiors is going. So when that time, there was no competition, like all the class work was with us only. So we had nothing to go out and worry about, we had all the niche clients. But now, if you say competition, now there are like so many nice young designers have come out. So for us also it's a competition, which I can say. For us also, because everybody is doing fantastic.
You have to do it better.
Yeah.
We have to be
We have to
in
get
the
better.
No, talent search is always on a lookout. It's
And,
always for talent
which-
search and.
But again,
which we are also facing all these things. ऐसा नहीं है कि but everybody has to work nicely.
Yeah, but
You
I
have to
think
be
you
different
create a
from each
niche.
other.
You always create a
Yeah.
niche for yourself where you know that there
So
is a
there is-
certain spectrum.
what
There is a
Ajay is
certain
saying-
spectrum which you will be covering, and I
Yes.
think we work within that spectrum.
I think what an interesting point which you have raised, Talati itself is
It's a brand.
one is a brand in India, like Hafiz, Contractor, Talati. They have been brands, but I myself got into business in the late 90s, and it used to be a completely different world. India. Imports opened into India only post 2000. Imports were not allowed into India pre 2000. That's how the economy was at that point of time. And I remember between 2000, 2010, 12, only those people would hire architects who were uber rich.
Yes.
Otherwise they would be, everybody will be like, वो contractor पकड़ लेंगे और खुद ही.
Interior awareness
Yes.
came.
It was post 2010, 12. Today it's become so much so that even if somebody is doing a 1 BHK on rent,
Yeah,
they are hiring an interior designer.
But now we have this space, we have those quality designers, so many those small people have come up, that we'll target
So
the house.
sometimes when we talk, we say, हर एक घर में एक interior designer होता है.
Very different.
So,
offering now.
yeah,
There
so
has been an explosion of
Yeah.
awareness of getting kind aesthetics for your spaces.
true.
I think that is
And my point driving to that was, of course, the number of projects have, gone multiplied by 100, 200, 500, whatever. But you guys were also one of the people who took up architecture when nobody else was doing. Now, you remark, now every family is having an interior designer, right? But there was a time where hardly anybody would take architecture. We had one of our panelists who said कि when he went back to his town and said कि मैंने architecture किया, he was introduced as he has done his engineering in architecture. Okay, so now this entire thing has flipped. Now you have interior designers, architects, coming up in hordes. You have companies like you mentioned, Live Space and all, social media. So what changed? So my question to everyone is, what changed? What made this generational shift that suddenly, with nobody wanting to become an architect, everybody wants to get into designing?
Architect के लिए थोड़ा difficulty है, because जितना interiors में you get paid, architects get really paid once the building is coming up, and they have got limited things like here in interiors we have got more than 50 agencies working in one projects, which we go through, like आपका curtains है, wallpapers है, so many things are there. Architects have what? They have got limitations. So if you see commercially also, they are थोड़ा ये होते हैं. So
Dependent.
I like to defend.
now the architects, they are
I like to
coming into
do
our business.
No, I
हम लोग घर बनाते हैं इंटीरियर के लिए.
और हम बस तैयार करते हैं.
No,
नहीं बनाएंगे तो नहीं चलेगा.
So it's again.
So I think
Chicken came first to the
I have an interesting take on this, but I will put that up after this talk.
Actually, in a way, he is right. It's nothing to blame. What he's not is nothing to pinpoint at what he's trying to convey. But in a subtle way, he's trying to say that बहुत अच्छा काम करो यार.
हम मेरी रेडी होने जाते हैं.
आप आर्किटेक्ट बनो या इंटीरियर अच्छा काम करो. Correct, isn't it?
हम मेरी रेडी होने के बाद घर पे आते हैं. इधर से नीम नीचे आ गई, बीच में लिविंग में बड़ा कॉलम है. अभी डिजाइन करो.
I think notionally what has happened is that everybody associated homes with either an engineer or a contractor, right?
Yeah.
So there was never really the recognition to the profession of an architect that came.
True.
I think that happened when people really started trying. They realized that architecture is something
You are right.
that is a recognized department, that is a recognized necessity. Beyond, because see, when you're inside a space, what you look at is the ornamentation, because you're living inside it. घर के बाहर green, blue, fluorescent pink है, you never really gave a thought about it.
Actually, I can give credit to Ekta Kapoor.
Now that's a first.
The serial, what she makes, one wall is green, one is colorful.
तभी ये इंटीरियर डिजाइनर आर्किटेक्ट को बोला.
नहीं,
घर में इंटीरियर.
अगर अच्छा नहीं लगा तो आर्किटेक्ट को बोला. अच्छा लगा तो इंटीरियर डिजाइनर.
तो ये वॉलपेपर किधर से? किधर से? बिजनेस चला.
I think so that change kind of really seriously happened because earlier you thought that you need an architect only when it's a project. Today you realize that even if it's a home, even if it's just a bungalow, you do need an architect. You don't rely on the availability of just that contractor. So today people have realized whether it's a home, whether it's a second home, whether it's a bungalow, it's a building, that shift in understanding has made a lot of difference to recognizing whether it's as a professional, whether it's being called an architect or whether it's being called an interior designer, that profession has got recognized today. So today, even earlier, we used to refer to interior professionals as interior decorators.
Yeah.
Yes,
They are not decorators. You want a decorator, go to a mandap guy. Decorator is the mandap wale ke paas.
you are saying that there are a lot of people who call columns also beams.
Yes.
Of course, you had more examples than
वो तो बहुत common है.
And you were like, yeah, एक beam है. I said, कहाँ है? So
Go back to your college. Have I ever read something wrong?
Exactly, that's the difference between an architect and what we have gone through the process of 5 years of architecture. We've understood our structural systems and MEP far better than interior designers of today. Maybe not all exceptions, but that is our understanding, and we've got a foundation to do that. That's why we are able to learn new things and even enter things like green architecture or solar architecture or these kind of things, which I don't think it's too far for an interior designer to touch.
So it's sensibilities, it's awareness, a lot of things.
Because these are all subjects.
Yeah.
These are all subjects. Architecture has.
And
I
I
can
think
get into structural.
Yeah.
because see, every product has layers.
After working with Talatis for
Just
so many years, if you say ki you can design a bungalow for me, I can, but I should not. I will not. Because it's his duty. Architect will do it. Interiors we will do it. It's how we always think about it. Because करने के लिए तो बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं सब. We should not get into.
Yeah, but getting back to what your topic was,
हाँ.
what was the generation change? I
Yeah.
think when we started, हम लोग board पे काम करते थे, like literally with pencil. And in our college, we were not allowed to use a 0.5
These
or
all
so,
are-
not a
these all
clutch
are
pencil.
right.
Ajay.
You have to
We are
have
all
HB or
drafted.
2B
T
and all.
square वाले,
Which
हाँ,
our
T
professors
square,
actually
X
for a
square,
pencil.
formatting it.
Now, with internet came in pretty late in our lives. Kids are like to born with it, the current generation also. With Pinterest, social media, everything is so much out and about.
Yeah.
So literally, nothing to do with anything personally, but I have seen designers who are attending events just to click pictures. And and we are here, but designing point, detailing point, standing on side and giving contractors charge, it's a big challenge for current generation. Because they have not been there. They are seeing everything on the photos and that's what like chapo.
I think I think one of the interesting points about Ekta Kapoor, which he mentioned.
Yeah, the series also.
Yeah, I think one.
Code tablet.
I think because and we also worked with a lot of these set designers, all the Karan Johar movies and all that. I think a lot of Western influence started coming into India. And of course, with the advent of social media, you started adoring the beauty of beautiful houses, right? Everyone wants to own a house
So
which
that was the
is jaw dropping.
Exposure was
Yes.
increased a lot. आपको एक बताता हूँ, when I was in college also, I think my professors used to say कि observe करो. First observe everything. So everything is here only. The color scheme से लेके सब कुछ. And observe the good things in designing. But that was our passion, I think, to do. Nowadays kids, so he said once that interior is a business, if you learn, is a business where you don't have to invest anything. Only put your brains and make a plan, make a design. तो आपको कोई invest करने का नहीं है. सबसे best business. So वो एक mind में setup था कि कई लोगों को अभी भी ऐसा है कि तेरे को कुछ करने का तो है नहीं, तेरे को डिजाइन देने का पैसा तो इसका दिमाग का पैसा. It is like that. And then how you develop and make your name by doing good jobs.
Now, the most the professionals who earn the most are the ones who create ideas,
Yes, of course.
right? Be it any field. It's not necessarily just designing. The best movie directors or the movie
I think
writers.
set designers
And that-
and event management are also doing good
Yes,
interior
a lot.
work.
Definitely.
Because
Yeah, I
in
think,
every movie, if you will see, they require a designer also. Now it's improvising so much. नहीं तो पहले का जो movies और अभी के movies में कितना
I think
फर्क-
after watching Hira Mandi, we don't know whether it's an architect, an interior designer, or set designer,
So we
or
had,
an event management.
yeah, because we had some of our classmates who went to the US and stuff like that for masters, right? I mean, obviously they came with a set of architectural skills, they came with a set of designing skills, and what did they? I mean, today if you ask me what they are doing, you'll be shocked. So they are designing the virtual worlds of games, right?
Yeah.
Which is a completely different realm altogether.
Hmm.
But then that also at a very basic fundamental scale is architecture and design.
That's
So if you don't come from there, you don't. I mean, ultimately you're playing a game on the screen also has a environment to it, right? So I think it's
There are not many layers to the whole thing. To summarize all this is basically a creative outcome of anything would only be possible if it's a conscious effort.
Correct. Absolutely.
A passion for it.
Yes, passion is there, but apart from passion, it has to be an absolute conscious effort. Now, conscious is something which आपको अपने आप को अंदर से जगाना है कि मुझे ये काम अच्छा करना है. Only then you will be see as she said and as he said. There are a lot of designers, there are a lot of architects, there are a lot of things. There are a lot of bylaws. There's a book called DCR where you have a lot of bylaws. Now people actually, I have seen some of the architects actually cribbing. Like, what sort of bylaws it is. We can't even design. No, but when you look at those things, you look at the other side of it. Okay, what is not written in that, which you can do it.
Correct.
So people don't explore. So idea is to actually explore the possibilities of what is there and what is not there, and what is in the scope and what is not, and what can you consciously achieve out of that.
You have to make your challenges your opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes, and accept it.
No, I mean, as we were conversing this portion, and there's a funny thing, right? As customers, and because we face so many customers day in day out, उनको when they are making a house, there's a confusion. Am I going to hire an architect to design my house? Am I going to hire an interior designer or interior decorator? So everybody gets confused कि architect को क्या करने वाला है interior. I'm talking about when they're thinking of doing the interiors, not make a bungalow. I'm talking about apartments in Bombay, right? So how do you handle this? This I wouldn't say conflict, but how do you address this situation कि architect interior कर रहा है, interior वाला interior कर रहा है कि who's doing, where should a consumer go when they're looking at doing their house?
I think it starts from backside first of all. There is something called space planning also.
Okay.
In today's time, we can accentuate it with artifacts, with a good light fitting.
I'll add to that. There's Vastu planning also now.
Yes.
So space planning can be done even by a homemaker. It can be done by a housewife. Space planning can be done by anyone who's interested in kind of creativity. You don't need an architect for doing a small space planning or designing a room or putting Marshalls wallpaper or hanging some light fittings, which you can manage it. But when you go into interior designer, it has more drawings, it has more details, it has door frame drawing, it has bathroom tiling drawing, the end of the tile, the beginning of a tile. And when you go into architecture, when the space becomes more bigger, when the challenges are more, like a beam coming in between, core cutting of a beam, or passing through your AC sleeve from somewhere else, or putting your outdoor AC somewhere else. So then you require to be an architect for that. Maybe some interior designers through practice learn it, but maybe some don't. So there is a entire division of these things, and there is a client who has to choose for which area you want what. But if he starts choosing a wrong person for a particular area, wicket keeping laws पहले आप बोलो मैं catch पकड़ता हूँ.
So an architect can do the interior design, but the interior designer cannot do the architecture.
Maybe not.
Interior designer
I have a different opinion.
Can't do what architects does. Architects can do interior design. That's a subject in architecture where they have to, because once they are planning, they have to make the walls or make the space in such a way that the interior can fit inside. So interior designer can't be say you are an architect. That is wrong on the part of the clients. They don't understand who's architect, who's interior, so we have to tell them. So when they ask us, yes, Amit, you are an architect or interior designer. So the interior designer for me, as I am, I don't have to shy away and say I'm an architect. I'm an interior designer. So वो लेवल पे मैं हूँ और मैं जो कर रहा हूँ इंटीरियर डिजाइन. आर्किटेक्ट जॉब इज आर्किटेक्ट. वो बिल्डिंग जो कर रहा है वो आर्किटेक्ट कर रहा है. उसने जो बीम दिया है, कहाँ से अपने को स्लीव्स दिए हैं, क्या दिया है, हम उसमें से ही जाते हैं. हम उसमें होल नहीं कर सकते. उधर हमारे
clients introduce us to someone that
so that's what.
He's my architect. He's doing my house.
So we have to tell them. We have to tell their friends, we are interior designers. We are architects.
Yeah.
Yes, so
Yes, so what
we
you
have
want
to
to say?
Because this is a very basic consumer.
Decorator cannot do an interior designer's job.
optimizing.
So that is also two different.
Optimizing
Yes.
solutions of design is the key essence, I would say. Whether it's an architect, whether it's an interior designer, optimizing them, giving value addition to your spaces and details is something which is a key to today's requirement of every client. I think in a space like Bombay, when every inch counts in terms of thousands of rupees,
Yes.
I would say thousands of rupees every inch means you need to optimize it. You need to make a user-friendly, a more comprehensive,
With Vastu.
composite, a
Vastu
more
compliant.
composite design.
Yeah.
You know, we call it composite buildings. We actually call composite buildings. The parking, amenity, building, everything is there. Why can't it be a composite in the interior design also? So it is a package. It is actually comes as a package where you try to make value addition to your design. Then that is where is the key. As Amit said that whether it's an interior designer, Talati and Paltaki has been doing fantastic jobs so far. You've seen their works, and there have been young designers and architects. I have seen their work. It's brilliant. The
Yes.
kind of detailing,
Yes,
the
yes,
kind of
yeah.
innovation they're coming with,
Yeah.
and with detailing and with all these things, innovation is the key. If you can't innovate and you keep doing the same thing, I think in the wallpapers also, I suppose it's the same thing.
No, no. Our tagline says leading through innovations.
I just read that.
So do you design building as per Vastu? Because all clients when they come to us, they start with Vastu only.
See, Vastu is nothing different than it's a science of
It's a
architecture.
science. It's a science.
It's a science of architecture, so you have to do it logically. As I said, bylaws में बहुत कुछ लिखा है. You don't have to follow that. जो नहीं लिखा है, वो आपका advantage as a design है. So same thing in Vastu. You have to do it logically. It's not that the kitchen has to be in the east. Because if there is a building, the kitchen has to be in the west or the east where sunlight comes in. There is a logic.
Yeah,
right?
there was a logic कि
Your
उधर से
sink-
आएगी तो
your
whatever
sink has
germs,
to be-
everything is
so
hit
your-
by it.
So your sink, your washing area, your sink has to be where sunlight comes in. So sunlight actually kills germs.
Yeah.
So that's the logic of Vastu. People say मेरा kitchen west में ही होना चाहिए. अगर उसके सामने लंबा बिल्डिंग है, वहाँ पे सूरज नहीं आने वाला है. So these are the things when
Yeah, from science it has become more of luck.
So when
Oh my
we-
कि यहाँ नहीं होगा तो मेरा luck खराब हो जाएगा.
Yes.
So it's become more
Belief.
belief rather than
there
a
are
science.
some mischievous characters in every field. I suppose.
That I agree. No, but Vastu
No,
is
in fact,
building entrance
there are-
बराबर नहीं है, but हमारा घर बराबर
there are some kind of jobs that neither an architect can do it nor an interior designer can do it. You need a teamwork. For example, if you get a project of a cruise and you have to design an entire cruise.
Wow.
Okay.
So sweet.
And then you say it's an architect, you can take a cruise. No, as an architect you cannot do a cruise.
You cannot do it.
As an interior designer also you can't do a cruise, but you can do the rooms of the cruise.
Correct.
You can do many things of the cruise. So then that's what we call as a team. And then if I get a big project and say you have to do up a cruise. I got a cruise to do once and I went to Jamnagar and then they told me that you have to do this entire cruise. It was a casino which came in Goa and Casino Pride. I said you have to do this. So me and my wife, we both went there and said you do this project. I said okay, we'll do it. We started designing everything and the next visit they told us you take it turnkey. I said no, cannot do it. I just can't do a turnkey project of a cruise because I need to get in team members which will take me
Specialize
3
in
months to
that,
build.
yeah.
And you want the cruise in 6-7 months, I cannot deliver it. I had to say no, bye bye, thank you. So there are a lot of things that we can't do and we need to get a team to do it.
True.
It's all a team.
Now, one of the team members which has got added to everyone, or rather, or coming up, is the AI. And this is a very open question, or rather deep conversation point. There was the advent of Pinterest, which architects and interior designers have had to deal with. Everyone bringing a photo, मुझे ऐसा घर चाहिए. Now you have another factor which is coming in, which is AI, which is able to generate models, which is generate based on what you put. And I'm asking you a question to you people because you are the people who did architecture, interior designing way back. and you have seen these changes, like you said, internet bhi nahi hota tha hamare time pe to. From there, now in 2024, you have AI. How do you see this AI part being a collaboration to you or being a problem for you?
I think there are pros and cons. It comes with every
I think it's very good.
innovation.
I only look at it at one way. It is only going to be productive.
Nice.
And I think anything which comes your way, or
More
with
like
any profession,
yeah,
or
just-
see, when I think it's the same thing when we are talking about movies. When we watch real life movies and we watch animation movies.
Yeah.
So I think it is something to do with that. So as I said, you need to create your niche. A Shah Rukh Khan cannot be replaced by an animated Shah Rukh Khan.
AI generated Shah Rukh Khan.
Animated or AI
We have to
generated.
accept it.
So the idea is that, as I said earlier, you have to create a niche for yourself. You need to understand in which spectrum we need to go forward. Yes, the spectrum will keep, the funnel will keep, becoming smaller and smaller. The opening will keep becoming smaller. But the more it becomes smaller, the faster is the speed. As we always said, when you have something, your speed is slow. But when you try to push something, your speed is faster. So I think AI works in the same way. So you come it has come in. It just makes you work faster, and you have to use it to your advantage.
We have to get adapted to all
Yeah,
this new
Yeah,
things.
not really adapted, but the thing is, I think I just tweak what Naved said. But it's I look at more as a reproductive tool,
Okay.
because see, we come from an era where we used to draft. So minute you change anything on a drawing, it's trash. You start redrafting again.
Yeah.
Then obviously you saw AutoCAD, right? So today, what would you say about AutoCAD? AutoCAD is also AI, but it's a very technical form of drafting, right? So today the screen takes a command and it draws up the plan for you. You give a print command, it prints for you. You give a 3D command, it extrudes for you. So AI is just a far superior aesthetic layer to that in terms of resourcefulness. So I think it's a very good tool. It swings both ways.
You still need to
Give the command.
Give the command.
Give the command.
So whatever happens, I
the
either
right
any
command will take you into the right direction. Is what is required.
the intelligence will remain here only. The artificial
That
part
is what
comes into it.
artificial.
So it's adding more. It's adding to your efficiency rather than being a problem.
See, it is an opportunity.
So we are not scared of AI.
So it is an opportunity, but
From
it is a
Yes.
threat. It is a
काम पे
threat.
लगाओ। Hey Siri.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
No, I'm saying if it is a threat, if you don't change your ways of working.
Yes.
And if you don't adapt to new ways of working, it's a threat. Why? Because your client can use that tool and do something which you didn't create for him and do better.
But
than
he
you
will
can.
be a
It's
sufferer.
like
Change is
today,
constant. You have
But
to
the
go
client will
on
be a sufferer.
accepting and changing.
Which I
True.
can see.
It's like today if you
Yeah.
have a
He can
practice
get
or
a
you
plan,
say
but he doesn't know how to
execute.
that I'm only going to give you hand drafted drawings. Doesn't work. It's as simple as that. Today, how much ever you might. So designing still happens by pencil and paper. But today, if you say that I'm going to wait for 2 months, draft a working drawing and send it to your site for your bungalow to come up, impossible. You obviously adapted to something like AutoCAD. It's just
But will AI replace things like models, making the models and all? Will it replace
No, it won't.
no, it won't.
for a customer?
No, it won't.
No, they don't want to see it physically. They don't want to the look and feel is yet
Because
more important.
I mean, see,
human touch is
design. One of the aspects of design is that design is tactile. So that tactileness can never come into something that's very superficial, something that's on a screen. A screen is going to remain a screen. Is going to remain a screen.
No, we've
Yeah,
had a
let me-
hands-on. We've had a hands-on.
Whatever.
Our 3D software. We've had a hands-on AI also, and I think as of now, what the situation is, what AI is doing is, it is just tweaking your vision statement. That's it.
Artist
It's more of a vision statement, and I think it just stops over there. And I don't think architecture and interiors is all about vision statement. I think it only constitutes to 1 or 2% of what we can actually do of that. So I think as of now, there is no threat, there is no
In fact,
takeover.
AI needs to advance more.
Yeah, because yet
Give us
AI
Flexible like to today.
It's the other way around.
हम लोग व्यू भी बना के देते हैं AI भी
AI
जनरेट
needs to work harder.
Yet we have to show
Yeah,
them
yeah, it needs
samples
to
on
work hard. I
site.
agree with you, boss.
We have
I
to
agree.
show physical samples. some clients yet insist on a mock-up even after seeing a view, you know. They know how this room is going to look like. No, but let's make a mock-up now. These samples manga hua, I want to physically see. So yet those things are not going to go away.
Robotics has come into surgery. Will you lie down on a table and say, tell the robot to
Robot
stop? You're like, no boss, doctor का दिमाग चाहिए. ऐसे ही.
The robot is handled by the doctor actually.
Yeah.
Actually. So the doctor is giving commands to the robot to do.
No, even cars.
Yeah, but still, robot touching you and a doctor touching you.
Robots are made by humans.
It's like.
Finally,
You're half dead there.
True, it's not that AI is making AI.
Yeah, we have only made AI as humans. We have made robots. So everything just boils down to us in the end. We don't give them a command. Nor a robot can perform a surgery. No AI can come up with a view, right?
No, even the AI-driven cars in the US, you have to have the driver sitting so that if anything goes wrong, he can take command of the steering.
See, there you go. If anything goes wrong, we are still not confident about that
See, that movie
functionality.
also came now.
Similarly, right? That there is always an
Shahid Kapoor's movie.
Yeah.
She was Kriti was robot in that.
So, I think every technology only drives us to get better. I think if we imbibe it the right way, it will only add to our efficiency and productivity. And I was just having this conversation with Bhakti ma'am before we started. There was a time in Marshalls where you had these imported books, catalogs कि अच्छा डिज़ाइनर ने आके बोला नहीं इतना ही मिलेगा जो बुक्स में हाँ यही मिलेगा इसके अलावा कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. Now you have a facility where we have our own design studio. Today we have the facility. आप बोलो आपको क्या डिज़ाइन चाहिए हम बना देंगे. Customization. That to that level you have reached, and you have reached because you are open to the technology getting everything done. If you were start नहीं यही जो है मिलेगा, you wouldn't progress. The other interesting part in the designing which has happened before, as we come close to ending our conversation, was the green revolution. And I don't mean it from a farming point of view, but sustainability. How do each one of you see this? Do you see, because when I talk to people, people are interested to listen to it, but not necessary to go through with it because of the cost, because of the price, the difficulty of maintaining such a thing. Do you think, and I don't know whether it's because India is India, we take more time to think, and for us value is more important than a long-term solution. How do you see this green part, sustainability in your own designing, in terms of whether clients ask for it, whether you have become very pro for it? Has that become a part of your work?
In Pune, they have started giving 7% additional FSI to developers who are doing green buildings. In Bombay itself, everyone is not gone for it, but they say that you represent it correctly, you might get 7% extra FSI. So obviously incentive is important because there's a cost going to go in creating things. And having given that, I think doing green buildings is the best solution, because the way we are getting scarcity of water by one monsoon coming late already, I think, and with the global warming that is happening, if you've seen what's happened in other countries like Dubai and what has happened things in Delhi of late, I think if it's going to continue like this, there might be scarcity of water in the coming years. If you don't plan it right from now, in the future there is going to be a problem. Also about plantations and having green plants, I think every architect and interior designer, wherever you can, should plant and keep the environment intact. That little bit also, because when you have a World Environment Day, people go and plant some plants and then it ends at that. It should not be like that. It should be a continuous process where we are planting green trees, because everyone should be educated with what's going to happen when you plant the green trees. Actually, you are contributing to the environment, and that sensitivity is what we must give to the younger generation who we are interacting with. So even they put that in their design.
Okay. So that's something which you're saying it has to come from your side in terms of pushing.
See, when they say architects are the creators of and they shape the city and they shape the country, what does that mean? What you learned, you pass on. You always don't tell the bureaucrats to frame rules and regulations and then have ways of following it, right? The architect is the one who drives this. And if the architect decides to combat against this, he's actually trying to tell the builder that no, इसमें ऐसा हो सकता है, don't do that. But no, I think that architect has to take a lead and educate the developer, promote these things and put that in the projects.
Okay.
Which is very tough for an architect to convince the builder.
So I look at green solution in a very different perspective. So green by itself is actually debatable. When we call it green, when we call it environmental friendly, and when we are tagging it in a particular format, so it actually is what we are doing. So as he said that that karna chahiye green building. Actually there are very basic 3 or 4 basic points. It's conservation, okay, environmental friendly, and your local involvement of local materials and labor into your construction methods or your applications. So these are the 3 main criteria of LEED certification, what I understand on the broader spectrum. The LEED certifications abroad is different. LEED certification India is different. In India, we always try to get brownie points out of something, as I think it's in our blood. So incentive of FSI is one brownie point which they are giving. But actually, it is debatable because when we look at EV cars or when we look at petroleum cars, if you actually see EV car is more hazardous than petroleum car. If you actually go into the science of it and you actually...
Toyota did a study also.
Yeah, if you do that and if you actually see it, what goes behind the lithium, how lithium is found, how it is being generated, how batteries are made, it is 100 times more pollution than actually a single car which is just running on petrol and emitting the fuel. So if you just keep that under control, I think it's more geopolitical. I think what we are calling it as green because concrete in itself is not a green material. So if you're making a concrete building and you're giving 7 LEED and 8 LEED points and 10 LEED points, I think it's all about. So that's why I said green is always debate. So as I said, there are 3-4 points.
No, but it's also about waste management.
No, that's what I said. Conservation.
Yeah.
There are only 3 basic points which you need to convey into any project, whether it's interiors or whether it's architecture. अभी आप बोलोगे कि यार मैंने ग्लास लगाया, ग्लास के ऊपर फिल्म लगाया, वो UV रेज नहीं अंदर आने देगा, and because of that give me LEED certification. I made a full glass building and I put a film and that made it LEED certification. So there are these things in the market where, as I said, the LEED certification is not the criteria. The criteria is to do a conscious effort, is what I would say.
True. Correct. So I think it's again evolving and changing as per how one thing, but I think a government intervention or I think propagation for it would also help making it more conscious and affordable for people who definitely want to go for it. I think we have had an amazing conversation.
I think ek pe free is always.
और ये वो हम लोग पंजाबी में बोलते हैं झुंगा. That आप मतलब कुछ भी ले लो उसमें एक्स्ट्रा वो चटनी एक एक्स्ट्रा डाल देना या वो एक एक्स्ट्रा चीज दे देना.
As long as the green is building on the table, it's a green building.
पूरी और भेल खाने को जाते तो भैया एक सूखा पूरी भी दो ना last. So that's how we are built up. So, okay.
True that. So it was so much fun. I think we had we were looking at a shorter time, but I think we just went with the flow.
We can still continue.
We can continue.
एक चाय और हो जाए.
Without coffee.
So much to learn.
इसकी बैटरी चली जाएगी, हमारी बैटरी नहीं जाएगी.
True. I mean, Mr. Nahar was a builder himself, and this is one of the questions which, as a consumer, you want to always ask a builder is, why do the flat sizes keep shrinking in comparison?
So what is happening now, over the period of time, people have started, at least the 2 and lower 3-bedroom flats have started asking for lump sum. When they ask for lump sum, they want a 3-bedroom in a lump sum price. They want floor rise also to be included, which is once there. They want stamp duty also to be included. They want parking to be included.
That's how the ticket price. The ticket
So
price has
in fact,
come.
it's a customer what wants and the builder is doing it exactly. Customer says that I want it all inclusive price of X. And builder knows that if I am going to give another 100 square feet extra or 50 square feet extra, it's not
going to go
make
from my
a
pocket.
difference on my price. It's going to go from my FSI. So okay, as per that, if everything is all inclusive, then go ahead with this. And this is the trend at many places where all inclusive started, because with the GST and what we are paying outgoing to the government and taxes, the people have become more conscious that how much I'm going to spend further on my apartment. That's why they are cutting the builder on that. And then the builder is cutting the size of it. And you are cutting us.
Customer is king, as they say.
तो हमारे पास तो लोग आते आते बोलते हैं यार हमारा बजट तो घर लेने में चला गया वो बाथरूम बनाने में चल गए फिनिशिंग के लिए पैसे नहीं
आपके
बचे
पास बाद में आते हैं, पहले हमारे पास आते बोलते हैं I have spent too much money buying the house. Now we want interiors in this budget only.
Yes.
So yeah, it starts from there.
So, but do you feel this challenge of spaces shrinking and you have to be
Definitely.
more innovative in doing the
Yes.
same space
Yes.
what you were doing 10 of
Optimization, yes.
Yes. Plus Vastu.
Plus Vastu.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of
No, but when they
challenges.
want shrunk spaces, at the same time they want walk-in wardrobes.
Yes, they want everything. That's what I'm saying.
You know, that walk-in
So one of the
wardrobe
bedrooms is walk-in
one
wardrobe.
bedroom has to be walk-in wardrobe.
But the requirement in a 3 BHK, they want a 3 BHK also, and they want a walk-in wardrobe also.
We give walk-in all inclusive. So you walk in from one place to everything is all inclusive.
You don't
Walk into your bedroom, walk into your bathroom.
आपका ही घर
That was a good
है.
one.
All
That was a
inclusive.
good
Brief
one.
for
Asking
walk-in.
for all inclusive.
Yes.
All inclusive. Space
I
is
love
not
that. You just
required.
walk in.
just keep walking, don't sit or lie down. Just keep walking.
Help me one day, walk in में. Strava pedal, block
Sponsored by
your
Johnny
step.
Walker.
That used to do.
I think we'll just as I was saying, because sorry for asking you this question, but I think as a consumer you always want to ask this question. And thank you for your insights.
But don't worry, we can put your wallpaper on the ceiling.
Silly also. That's what they're doing nowadays.
थक के आदमी सो जाएगा तो wallpaper तो दिख ही जाएगा.
Yeah.
So it's nothing happening to you. Don't worry.
मतलब the wallpapers, I would call it the nomenclature of wallpaper is also now needs to be evolved, right?
Yeah.
Because
Ah.
it's, from the wall it has gone on the ceiling and it has also come on the floor.
Floors.
So
So it is no more a wallpaper.
So again, I like to point out here.
Wall covering.
So we no longer call it wallpaper, because once upon a time, वो हम लोग वो लोगों को and people would say, अरे paper है ये तो paper ही है. Yeah, it is paper, but that paper also has now become non-woven paper. It has become fabric packing
back-
paper.
No, but
Yeah.
that word wall also needs to be.
But there was a time people they wanted to put wallpaper when we used to suggest, नहीं वो तो निकल जाता है,
हाँ.
वो तो साफ करता है अभी 1 महीने के अंदर निकल जाता है. Now people have evolved.
जहाँ कहीं आपको और कोई नहीं लपेट सकता हम लपेट लेंगे.
So people used to
we
go.
are the people who tell them कि wallpaper निकलता भी है.
हाँ.
We are the people who say नहीं निकलता.
India's
application अच्छा
India's
होता है.
number one surface covering.
So we are
India's
the
number
main
one
people.
surface covering.
Maybe that will be the next step. So
Yes.
वो लोग को कागज वाला बोल के.
Yes.
So we said we'll no longer call, because wallpaper has evolved so much. What it was in the
Yeah.
70s, 80s, 90s, and today there's a huge difference. So that's why we changed a decade back from calling wallpaper company to wall coverings.
Correct.
But still, people think, say it as wallpaper.
नहीं,
but that's a
you
very
have
basic
to
thing.
change that
But हम वही
perception.
बोलते हैं कि वो बच्चा जब छोटा था उसको पप्पू बुलाते थे, बड़ा हो गया तो you can't still keep calling them पप्पू, right?
ऐसे है कुछ लोग जो
उसको बाबू बुला दो भाई.
It's very important even for the common people who are coming and buying wallpaper directly to educate them where to put the wallpaper in their house, and they don't have an architect or an interior designer. A lot of people are using the dead wall of the building, the damp wall, to cover that with the wallpaper.
No, one of the very frequent questions we get is वो लीकेज को छुपाएगा.
हाँ वही.
हाँ, गीले दीवार पे लग
लीकेज को
जाएगा.
छुपाने के लिए लगा
और
रहे
फिर
हैं.
बोलते हैं हमारे wallpaper में निकलता है, ये अच्छा नहीं है. Yeah, so that's how it is.
But
And then they say wallpaper नहीं
नहीं लगाना
चाहिए,
चाहिए, निकलता
paint
है.
ही करेंगे actually. So then they are going back from the aesthetics of a wallpaper.
So we have different solutions for leakage walls. But we give them an interior solution. We don't solve their leakage issue. We say, आप 1 इंच छोड़ के we'll do aluminium paneling, we'll put a cement sheet or a marine ply और उसके ऊपर wallpaper लगा देंगे.
And then we talk about
तो पीछे कुछ भी होता रहेगा. We don't.
Karan, but it's not fair. Architects can do interiors. Interiors can't do architects. We discussed them.
So
Now
we
you
are-
all are getting into interiors.
We are giving an interior solution.
Very smartly put up.
वाटरप्रूफिंग के लिए तो खाली गैप छोड़ते हो.
हम waterproofing
गैप में क्या होता है वो अपने लिए.
गैप में ग्रीन बिल्डिंग बन जाएगा.
I had someone coming to me and saying, now this this surface covering, you can use it inside your bathroom and even on your shower floor. So I said, yeah, this will be on heartbeat this thing, every time you take a shower, like अभी wallpaper निकलेगा. But yes, thanks to the technology, it has evolved, and I think it is making architects' job also easier in a way to design as architects, because it's giving us liberty to innovate things.
Explore more materials.
Yeah. So thank you so much. So thank you everyone. It was so much fun conversing with all of you, and
Super.
thank you for
Thank you
taking
so
out
much.
your time and being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.